During World War II, Jeep-type vehicles became the backbone of Allied armies. They were fast, reliable, and could go where bigger trucks couldn't. In this video, we list every World War II Jeep type. GAZ-64, the Soviet Union's first indigenous Jeep equivalent, designed incredibly rapidly under wartime pressure. It suffered from a very narrow track width, making it quite prone to tipping on uneven ground. GAZ-67, a significant improvement over the GAZ-64. Soviet designers fixed the critical stability issues by greatly widening the wheel track. This became the standard Soviet utility vehicle for the latter half of the war. GAZ-67B, a further refinement of the reliable GAZ-67 chassis. Minor tweaks to the body and the engine improved overall performance and reliability. This version continued in service long after the war concluded. Chevrolet CMP, light utility, a Commonwealth design, Australian-Canadian, built on a standardized GM platform. Highly adaptable and relatively easy to maintain in harsh environments, these vehicles served extensively across the Pacific and Middle East theaters. Tatra 57K, a Czech light utility car, essentially a robust military version of a successful civilian car line. After Czechoslovakia was absorbed into the German war machine, it was often used for liaison work. Praga AV, another reliable utility vehicle from Czechoslovakia. It was used extensively by the Axis for light transport duties, representing the broader use of occupied nations' industrial output. SPA Viberti, AS-43, an Italian light armored car used extensively for reconnaissance and high-speed patrol duties in North Africa. Fast and relatively well-armed, it saw service under both Italian and later German commands. SAP ATL-37, an Italian light artillery tractor, distinguished by its 4 massive wheels and very high ground clearance. It was designed specifically for hauling guns across rough, difficult terrain like the desert. Lafley FIV-10, a French light reconnaissance vehicle, distinctive due to its unique 6-wheeled configuration. Produced before the 1940 fall of France, many were captured and immediately repurposed by the German army. Lafley FIV-15, a slightly heavier and larger French military utility vehicle compared to the FIV-10, used mainly for towing small artillery pieces. This was another unique design co-opted for service under the Axis after the occupation. Peugeot DMA, a standard French truck or van chassis quickly adapted for wartime utility use. Primarily a simple, sturdy workhorse used for local logistics and carrying essential supplies. Kurogane, Type 95, the primary Japanese light utility vehicle, often cited as the world's first mass-produced 4-wheel drive car. It had a distinct motorcycle-like front fender design and was very rugged for operations on Pacific Islands. Toyota AK-10, a Japanese utility car heavily influenced by the American Bantam design. Produced in somewhat limited numbers, it shows the efforts by Japanese industry to quickly emulate successful foreign designs. Volkswagen Kübelwagen, Germany's answer to the light utility vehicle. Extremely lightweight and simple, it utilized a rear-mounted, air-cooled engine. It had superb off-road performance, especially valuable in terrains like the North African desert. Volkswagen Schwimmwagen, the famous floating Volkswagen. This was an ingenious amphibious utility vehicle featuring a screw propeller that simply folded down for water use. It was a remarkable piece of German engineering. Stower R200, a German heavy 4-wheel drive utility car, part of the standard troop transport roster. It featured independent suspension on all 4 wheels, representing a solid but complex design for battlefield repair. Horsch 901, another powerful standardized German transport vehicle. Known for its distinctive boxy and angular appearance, it served reliably throughout the conflict, primarily carrying officers and vital communications equipment. Ford GPW, nearly identical to the Willys MB. Ford built these using Willys blueprints, ramping up production fast to ensure Allied forces had the massive vehicle volume they desperately needed for the global conflict. Ford GP, this was one of the early prototype Jeeps. GP stood for Government Project, or possibly General Purpose. It featured the recognizable flat hood, but was quickly phased out when the final, superior MB design was standardized. Bantam BRC-40, the original pioneer. Bantam designed the first vehicle to meet the U.S. Army's stringent requirements. Though Willys ultimately won the major contract, Bantam still produced thousands of these robust little vehicles. Willys MA, the direct ancestor to the MB. This was Willys's initial submission, featuring a column gear shift and a simpler gauge cluster. Most MA models were sent overseas for battlefield trials and testing.